Global warming is creating extreme weather patterns all around the world. We have not treated nature well, and it's not treating us well in return. Whether it's fires, floods, earthquakes, high winds and tornadoes, mudslides, droughts, shortages of water, um, extreme weather patterns are unfortunately now the norm, and shelter is going to become more important as just that, as a means of protecting us from the elements. Throughout history, our greatest thinkers have taught us to look to nature as inspiration, as a source of finding answers. We Today we call it biomimicry, and when we look to nature as a source of inspiration for shelter, what do we see? We don't see boxes. There are, in fact, no right angles in nature whatsoever. Instead, we see thin shells of all sorts, exoskeletons, um, shells that animals transport around with them, shells that are used to protect seeds, and of course, most importantly, the egg, that carrier of our progeny. Eggs are, in fact, incredibly efficient structures. Very, very little material is used to create incredibly strong forms. And in fact, the shell and by extension, the dome is the strongest structure that we can use to house ourselves in. So why should that matter? Well, very simply put, money and time, our two most valued resources. We spend most of our money on shelter, rich or poor, and we all spend most of our time within these shelters. So we think of ourselves as very savvy consumers, but is in fact the thing that we spend most of our more important resources on entirely outdated? Should we in fact be looking for alternative models for our housing, for our shelter? Should we be looking at alternative techniques for our construction, ways of building that are inspired by nature, that are guided by natural principles, ways of building that result in forms that are more naturally safe? I believe that what we will find if we do that is that those same shelters will be more efficient, more energy efficient, more structurally efficient, less wasteful from a resource usage perspective in terms of their materials and their energy consumption. And we will find buildings that are more organic and therefore more objectively beautiful.